So like for a Pinterest pin, you want to make sure that everything, actually when you're designing anything, you want to make sure that like it's aligned properly, that it's not cluttered, that there's white space, that, it's balanced, that there's some visual hierarchy going on. So yeah, it will vary based on exactly what you're working on, but the principles all remain the same.
Hey guys, it's Mike from Make Time Online, and today I'm talking to Kristin Rappaport from Applecart Lane. So Kristin is a graphic design genius. I don't know what the correct word for it is, but she is awesome at graphic design. It's what she did at uni. It's what her job has entailed for numerous years. It's basically like 20 years worth of like graphic design experience. But she is a massive believer that anyone can do graphic design. Even if you've never been taught it before, or you think you just don't have an eye for design, when you learn some fundamental graphic skills, anyone can do it. And honestly, just from having this chat with her, I feel so much more confident about it. And from taking her, she's got a free course as well, which just goes through some really key fundamental principles of graphic design. And I already just want to go and design some pins and design some graphics because I just want to actually practice what she's kind of just taught. And it is absolutely amazing. I'm not going to go on for too long. She really knows her stuff, and I really hope it helps. I was trying to think of an interesting story that we could start with, because obviously I know a little bit about you. But I did read an email recently where you were saying back in 2017, you realized you were in this office job for like 9 years. And what happened? Something obviously triggered. I don't know if it was was it a spur of the moment thing that happened, or you just decided this is not for you?
To be honest, it was kind of like a long time coming. I just didn't know what my options were to get out of this office setting. So I was growing my family. I had just had my second little girl. And so I really started to hate that alarm clock going off and hating to have to rush them into daycare and, get them where they needed to be so I could be to work on time. And things weren't going great in the office setting, typical drama, office drama. And so it occurred to me, I did a Pinterest search one night sitting on my couch, desperate. I think I literally did a search for how to make money online. And I didn't have any clue what was out there. I didn't even know that people were, I knew people were blogging, but I had no clue that it was an income, all this income stuff going on. So it piqued my interest, and I thought to myself, so I have a marketing background as it is. So everything I was doing for my current employer, involved design and marketing. So I'm shoot, if I can do this for them, this will be super easy for me to do for myself. And what am I waiting for? So I basically that night bought my domain and jumped in. And that's where it all began. And after I had my third little one just this past year, I went on maternity leave and I didn't go back. So
nice. So this was in 2017. So 2017, you had no idea you could make money online at all.
I figured you could make, there was different marketing things to make money online, but I guess I didn't realize that you could make a lot of money online.
But you didn't know how to make money online, basically. You had no idea what to do.
It had never occurred to me to do affiliate marketing or to create a product or, to try to get clients online. So it was all kind of new to me, and I was holy cow, I'm doing this. I can do this. So I jumped in.
That's pretty amazing then. From 2017, knowing nothing about it, to then 2019. When was it? I bet you can remember the exact date and time, can't you? When you finished work for good, basically.
Yep. So I had my little boy on February 27th, and then I used my maternity leave to really kind of I mean, it's really hard to juggle almost a full-time job and then growing your own side business. So it was slow. I mean, you see all that stuff online, like, oh, have a full-time income in 30 days or 60 days. Like, that is not even how it is. So it did take me, 2 years. But so in February, I was able to really, with my sleeping newborn who was sleeping all the time, I was able to really put a huge focus on growing my business. And that's when I was able to put all the final touches on my pin design course. And I launched that, and that went great. And picked up client work along the way. And yeah, didn't go back to work. So it was great.
That's amazing. So like, if someone's listening to this, like they're in the car or like going for a jog or whatever they're doing, and they're just thinking, how on earth has she done that? Like, what has she done to do that? Obviously it's not like you've just gone from buying a domain name and then quitting your job. Those 2 years, obviously there's a lot of stuff that's happened, but can you like maybe walk us through, like, what was your first thought? Like, how did you get going?
So I decided that I was like, I'm gonna just start out like a lifestyle blog. Honestly, I thought, I can share some stuff.
Rappaport Lane? Is that the same one?
Yep.
Oh, cool.
Yep. And yeah, so I started. If you go way, way back on my blog post archives, you'll find some really random articles about like, toddler teething, baby teething, and all this stuff. So I wasn't really connecting with it. So probably 6 months into it, I'm like, this isn't where I want to go. This is not how I want to help people. I have so much more to offer. And I realized that there was kind of a shortage in like design help. And I'm like, I freaking love to design and I'm good at it. And I think I can teach people how to do it for themselves. So I had discovered, like, I've been using Pinterest for a long, 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 long time. But that is what I was using to generate a lot of traffic to my mom blog articles. So anyways, I knew people were struggling, like even like designing pins and designing just blog post graphics, blog headers, you name it. I mean, first of all, like, where do you even start? What do you even do?
I am one of those people, by the way, massively.
And so I'm like, my blogging friends that I've made, just even in Facebook groups, like they need help and I can help them. And I felt like that was so much more of like a greater purpose than to be sharing people like how to get your toddler to eat, which that is a whole struggle in and of itself, but that was not for me. So I kind of made a pivot and just started figuring out how I was going to help these people and who, now are my online friends and all that stuff. But so yeah, 6 months in, I totally changed my direction, which I think is totally okay to do. If you're not connecting with what you're doing, don't do it, because you need to be excited. It needs to light you up. So design and marketing lights me up. So change direction. 6 months in, I just started cranking out blog articles, just doing what I thought needed to be done. Started getting traffic, created an opt-in, started growing my email list, started taking on clients, because honestly, that was where the money was coming from.
Well, yeah, that's what I want to ask. Like, obviously, that doesn't just happen. How did you go from this person who's like new to blogging to then going, hey, give me some money and I'll do stuff for you?
So I joined a kind of like a Mastermind Facebook group, and it had never occurred to me to offer services. I don't know why. I was interested in more of like the passive income. So to me, offering services, I'm like, I love to design, but I was designing for myself. So I hadn't even like thought about that. And this lady was like, if you want to start making money, like the quickest way to make money online is offering services. So I'm like, okay, absolutely. Throw up a services page on my website. What do I love to do? I love to design pins. I love to design opt-ins. I love to design, whatever, anything actually. So I literally threw up a services page, figured out my pricing. She had a challenge that it was like, get your first client. And my first client was Dollar Sprout team.
No way.
Yeah. I don't know if I I like drew them to me. I mean, this sounds kind of, silly, but if you're not into religion, but like I literally prayed, send me the clients that need me. Send me the clients, who can I help? And they were one of my first clients.
What, Ben and Jeff?
Yes.
No way. So
I started designing.
That's mad.
Yeah,
I learned a lot of the stuff that I know about Pinterest from them, which I'm guessing they learned from you.
Well, I know they have like their own little pin design course, and I've gone through it and everything, and it's great. But they have so much content and so much stuff, and they really work Pinterest, let's be honest.
Yeah.
And so they reached out to me, so I helped them do their pin designs, and that kind of really started the ball rolling. And I'm like, I can do this. Like I can do this client work. So I started getting more and more clients, just interacting on Facebook groups. I know you mentioned that you've seen my like before and after
that was
pin
so
makeovers.
Good. Yeah, I had no idea that was you. That basically me and Kristin are in like this mastermind group now, and so we chat. And it was like months ago that you were sending those designs, and I was like, "Oh, you're that person." And I learned so much just from seeing before and after. It's such a good way of doing it.
Yeah, that's what I found. Like people love that before and after. So doing those kind of things and actually like providing value like that into a group, that can get you clients. Like if you show that you're an expert in your field, I mean, just posting those makeovers, I have gotten probably 3 clients and multiple inquiries just from doing those. So, that's where clients came from for the most part, doing those and interacting in Facebook groups. So I'm not currently taking on any more clients because I'm really, really now wanting to focus on growing my own business, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like,
that's kind of what I wanted to see, like how you're going to then transition, obviously. So you've gone from those services and stuff. And I guess that's what gave you enough money to be able to like quit your job and like be able to earn enough. Are you, I don't know if you want to like talk about that, but is it like enough money like compared to what you were getting from a day job and stuff like that? Or is it, how does it compare?
Yes, it is. And I wasn't, it has totally replaced my income from my previous full-time job. And it comes from clients. I do make some affiliate. I could totally amp up my affiliate marketing game, but as you know, there's multiple different like avenues that you can generate income from. I sell some pin templates. I sell some social media templates. I have a couple courses, and so all of those combined have replaced my full-time income. So
awesome. Yeah. So now you're obviously at a stage where you're after that whatever the word is, you're basically after passive income, that mysterious thing that lurks out there, which seems to be like what everyone's after on the online world. But what's your plan
really
then to get
passive,
there? No, I think
what's that?
I think one of the best ways I've heard someone describe it is like planting a seed, and then watering the plant, and you carry on looking after the plant, and then you take the harvest, and then you carry on watering it and looking after it, sort of thing. But I was like, that's a really good metaphor for it.
That is a good analogy.
Yeah, I like it. So what is your plan then to go from this service-based income to then starting to create maybe like this more passive, hands-off approach? Like what's your thinking behind it?
I think it all boils down. I mean, I'm keeping my clients. I'm just not taking any more. And a couple of them, are let's say going to like a lower tier for pin design. But I think what it's really coming down to is having a solid goal and a plan, and being able to stay on focus, because I would find myself just like sitting at my computer because I felt like I had to, and it was like, am I even doing anything that's work? Like I'm just poking around, like. So I'm training myself, like if I'm going to sit at my computer, I am going to be effective. And if I'm just scrolling through Facebook, I'm not going to do it. Like I'm either here to work and build the things that I'm creating effectively, or I'm not doing it. So I think a lot of it is like just being, what's the word? just super, super focused and having a solid plan. So right now I have a crazy plan that I'm rolling out in 2020. I'm going to be relaunching my pin design course that's totally updated and improved. And then I am launching what I'm calling a DIY design framework.
Yes.
So hopefully this system will take any blogger or online business owner from this, okay, I bought my URL and I have this idea and I know I can share it with the world and I can write and all that stuff. But when it comes to designing graphics, I literally want to guide people through the exact process that I've taken to show up online, show up consistently, show up like a professional. Because I think so many people are missing out on a lot of opportunities because they're just kind of like throwing stuff together. You know, they're not showing up consistently. So I want to be the guide and guide my people through my people. That's kind of weird. You know what I mean? I want to guide people through, like, once they set up their website, okay, these are the graphics that you're going to need. You're going to need a logo. You're going to need this. You're going to need this. You're going to need, you know, and with design principles in mind. And I want to make it simple and I want to make it fun. And yeah, so that's my big goal for 2020 is to roll out this DIY design framework.
Awesome.
And I got to be focused to do it because time.
Yeah, always time, huh? But so is that kind of the, how are you actually going to design it? Is it on Teachable or like what platform are you using for that?
Yes. Yep. I use Teachable. And so I'm going to have multiple different courses because I realized that like some people, they might already have a logo or they might already have their branding in place. So my plan is right now to sell offer the DIY framework as a big bundle. But as I create the products, and the courses, I'm going to launch them, you know, individually. So I think they'll be for sale individually. So, you know, if somebody just needs help designing their opt-in or they need to create like promotional graphics or, you know, wherever they are in their blogging journey or online business journey, my hope is that I can offer them something that will help them look and feel more professional. Awesome. Online, wherever they are in their journey. So if they want to come along with me from the beginning, and I can hold their hand through everything, all of the visual content that it takes to, you know, that I feel like it takes to be successful online, I will welcome that. But, you know, the courses will likely be offered as individual things as well.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Would like the design principle then is it slightly different for everything that you do? So like a Pinterest design compared to like your opt-in form compared to your, I don't know, what else do you design? This is where I need you. I don't know what else I need to design. So
I know there's like so many, but I get what you're saying. Yes and no. So there's a set of design principles that I feel like are super important to keep in mind when you're designing anything. So obviously, like if you're designing a logo, the principles that you're going to want to pay attention to are like white space and, different principles than the principles that you would use to when you were creating like an opt-in or like a multi-page document, let's say. Mm-hmm. So I guess the principles all remain the same. It's just when you want to use certain principles and like when that would apply. So like for a Pinterest pin, you want to make sure that everything, actually when you're designing anything, you want to make sure that like it's aligned properly, that it's not cluttered, that there's white space, that, it's balanced, that there's some visual hierarchy going on. So yeah, it will vary based on exactly what you're working on, but the principles all remain the same for, anything that you're working on, if that makes sense. Kind of a roundabout way.
Yeah, no, definitely. Actually, that whole hierarchy thing, I was just going through like your freebie course thing that you have going. Is that still, I'm guessing that's still just like available to anyone. Is that like an opt-in and stuff? Yep. Yeah, yep. I mean, to be honest, there's so much in there. It's crazy. Like it's like I was saying to you before, I've honestly actually paid people maybe like $40 or something for not even half of that kind of information before. Yeah, I mean, it was just, Can you just explain that hierarchy though? Because I think that one for me was one of my big ones that I just took away just now, even though I've already looked at that whole course before, but I forgot about it.
Yes, I can absolutely break that down. So visual hierarchy is probably one of the most important design principles. And what visual hierarchy is it's a way to lay out your design with the most important thing being most prominent, and then the second most important thing being, the second most prominent thing, and so on. So it has the ability to kind of guide your viewers through your message. So take, for example, like a Pinterest pin. Mm-hmm. If you have like 10 hacks to make money online, let's say, you would want to catch your viewers' attention with specific keywords. Make money. I forgot already what I said, the headline, the pretend
hacks?
Headline would be. Yeah, 10. Okay, so let's just say make money. You want to like catch your viewers' attention with those words. So you would definitely want to put like a visual focus on those words, whether that is making them a bigger size, using a bold font, using, a fancy script or, a handwritten script font. Those are pretty popular right now. But yeah, visual hierarchy is kind of leading your audience through your design and helping them see your message in a way that the most important things are seen first.
Yeah. No, what I took from it as well is that I just presumed like your title would be one thing, and then maybe like your subtitle would be another thing, and then like your image or your call to action would be another thing. Whereas what I learned from that course that I was just looking at is your title can actually have hierarchy within itself. You say, like make money is the big bit of that, and like the 10 hacks can be small. So that's even though it's not in order, if that makes sense, because 10 hacks is before make money, but you want them to see make money first. And I was like, right. It was just like a penny dropping. I was like, okay, makes sense.
And that's how most of these design tips and principles, they are actually, it's like, you don't know how to read when you're a child, right? If someone teaches you, you're all of a sudden like, oh, okay, this all makes sense now. So, the misconception is that like graphic designing is hard, complicated. Oh, I don't have an eye for design. And I want to break down all those barriers, because if you can follow some very basic design rules like visual hierarchy, like contrast, like alignment, if you can follow the rules and have just even a basic understanding of them, you can create some pretty professional looking things without having that eye for design, without spending years in design school. It doesn't have to be overcomplicated. You want to keep it simple.
Yeah, well, that's actually kind of the thing that I learned from that as well, is that actually the more simplistic stuff seems to be more effective, rather than, making it too busy with like this special font or this special, I don't even know what it's called, like gradient and the shading and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It's almost like you don't want to do that, is the message that I sort of kept getting from you.
Absolutely. Especially if you're DIYing and, you're not a trained and skilled designer, adding those unnecessary things, lines and squiggles and drop shadows. I mean, you can use a drop shadow if you can use it effectively. But all that does is actually clutter up your message. And I think a lot of people, it's like, oh, but I need to feel like I'm designing. Like I need to feel like I'm being artistic, or like I need to feel, so I'm going to add this little doodad or whatever you want to call it, because you feel like you need to have something, when in reality, if it's not helping your message, it's not going to help you. It's just there as like a bug on the page.
Yeah.
So yeah, keeping it simple is a big one.
Yeah, and I think that there's a difference between what I've noticed as well. There's a difference between spending time making these little fancy little squiggly things, but spending time doing those messages that you've said, like making sure it's aligned and the contrast and what was the one that like something's bigger or a different color? What's that one called? I've forgotten.
Oh, that's contrast.
Oh, that's contrast. Yeah. So, you know, those sort of things. Spending time doing those things is important, but spending time doing rubbish is not. And I spend a lot of time doing rubbish, I realized, basically.
Oh, come on.
I really do. But anyway,
yeah.
Are there any like tools and like tricks or courses? Well, obviously your course. Is there anything that you've personally used which you found has been like super useful?
Okay, so I was just actually doing an email that I was kind of talking about my favorite tools. So a couple tools that may not be a surprise to you, some may be a surprise to you or you haven't heard of. Obviously, the number one tool that DIY designers are using is Canva. And you can use the free version, you can use the pro version. If you want to, you know, do things like upload your own fonts, you're going to need the pro version for that, which is still pretty affordable. But with a design program like that, you can create what you need to look and feel professional online. I use InDesign, Adobe InDesign, and I realize that that's probably very daunting and above what most people need. So Canva's my go-to program. It's for a recommendation. There's a couple other tools. I have a really fun color picker tool.
Oh yeah, I just got that from your course.
All the time. Yes. It's called Colorzilla, and it's a Chrome extension. And you can pick any color on your screen. So that really helps, like if you're trying to match, like say a color from a photo, you can use that. And that, back to a design principle, that create consistency within your graphics. If you can, you know, use a color from a photo opposed to just picking some random, you know, bright red color that's alarming and, you know, screams danger. I recently discovered a fun, it's almost like a Photoshop kind of tool. And this is really great for like creating transparent backgrounds. I'm actually going to use it in my logo creation course. It's called Photopea. I think that's how you say it, or Photopea. Yeah, and I can send you, PEA, Photopea.
Oh.
But it's literally like,
Photopea.
Yeah, a simplified version of Photoshop, and it works like right in your browser. And so free. That's really cool. It is free. Yeah.
What? And it does like the whole transparent background thing.
Yes.
Oh, that's so cool, because I've used like free tools on like online before, but now I don't know what's happened to them. They don't seem to really work very well anymore, or they've like become pro things or whatever. And I'm like, I don't need to do that really. So if it's free, that's great. I'm always looking for those little freebie things.
Yep. Another thing that keeps me super inspired and creative is my favorite website is called Creative Market. Mm-hmm. They actually offer, if you sign up for their email list, they offer 6 free design goodies every single Monday. So you can get free fonts. Sometimes they have like different icons. Sometimes they have different patterns. They have all kinds of stuff. But you can sign up for their email list and get 6 free things every single week. So that's one of my favorite resources. And those are all free. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
All I have at the top of my head right now.
A question about the color, going back to like Colorzilla and stuff, is you said in the course like you should do, is it 2 to 3 colors, and you should only ever choose for a
color palette?
Yeah, and is that, do you mean like that is for like per pin, or does that mean always for your brand, or like can you ever go like off brand, or like how does that work? Absolutely.
So for consistency and for, let's see, if you want to start really being recognized online, on Pinterest, wherever you're showing up, I definitely recommend that you have some kind of basic visual branding in place. So that does include a color palette. And back to free resources, there's tons of free resources that provide, color palettes that have already been created. Oh, yeah. Even if you look on Pinterest for like purple color palette, you're bound to find something. Then you could go ahead and use that color picker tool to find out the exact hex codes of those colors. So having a solid color palette that you can pull from anytime you create a graphic, especially if it's on brand for Pinterest or for whatever you're creating. I definitely recommend that for your branding. So that's not only going to help you with consistency, but it's also going to save you time, because a lot of time can be wasted trying to pick a color. And same goes with fonts. Like, I've been sucked down the font rabbit hole looking at fonts for like, I don't even want to admit, but like hours. I don't know which one to choose, but if you have a set of fonts that you always use that represent you well, then you never have to be sucked down that font rabbit hole.
Yeah, that's so true.
And I guess when you talk about like creating off-brand graphics for Pinterest, I think that is something that you can do once you have your branding in place. So once you create, like, for example, if you wrote an article, whatever it may be, I say create a couple on-brand pins, and then you can play around when and if you have the time and create some off-brand pins. And that can be maybe your little creative outlet where you can try some of those fonts that you love, but maybe don't fit your branding perfectly, or try some different colors, because off-brand pins can drive, some different types of traffic to your website. So I don't see any problem in doing that, but I personally recommend that you have branded pins and other social media graphics that all look consistent, and maybe you use a set of templates to create them, because it saves tons and tons and tons of time. Even like having fonts and colors, just those basic go-to things, and then a set of templates that you use. I mean, you're going to save so much time. You're not going to be, spinning your wheels every time you sit down to create something. It's kind of, the ground has already, there for you. So. Oh
yeah. Like, if you can get a template that you can just then edit and change and like just change the words, it just saves so much time, doesn't it? On the template though, because this is something I have heard on Pinterest, is that you shouldn't really like reuse the same images and graphics all the time. I don't know if that's true, or like what the deal is with that, but if you've got a template, the image is a big part of the template, really, isn't it?
It is. So Pinterest likes new content, and they like it pinned often. So I think a good strategy is pinning like maybe 3 to 5 new pins a week. So a new pin would be something that has a different headline, that has a different image, and it has a different description, I believe. I'm not like super knowledgeable on like the actual pinning strategy. But design wise, you're going to want a different like text overlay or headline, whatever you want to call it, and a different image. So even if you had a set of templates, I do recommend switching out the images, or I love using like flat lay images. And I have another favorite resource of mine is the Ivory Mix. I have a membership to that. So I have access to, thousands and thousands of images that are pretty Pinterest perfect, if you ask me.
Sorry, say that again. Ivory Mix.
Ivory Mix.
And is that like, how much is that every month? Do you know?
I think she's got monthly. So first of all, she offers like a free, I think her freebie is like 500 or more like stock photos. So definitely go snag some of those.
Yeah.
And her website, it's just ivorymix.com, and start with that. But if you want to, she's got so many like stock image bundles that for various different niches, finance, fitness, food, I mean, all kinds of stuff. You're bound to find something that you can use as you brand your graphics and pins and whatever else you're creating. So yeah, that's a great resource there. I forgot, I'm like lost my train of thought here. So
it was something to do with like switching images and stuff. Oh yeah, the images. Yeah. But yeah, so, because that's a huge thing.
Yeah. So say you have a set of templates. I mean, I think 5 templates is a pretty good place to start. Like pin design, for example. If you have 5 templates that you can use at any given time that have a different layout, just switch out the images, switch out the headline, switch out the call to action, and boom, you can create pins super fast.
Yeah, no, that is brilliant. Actually, that's something that I have never quite done. Like I've got the idea of a template, but I'm always like, but I need to change the image. And then when I change the image, the whole thing seems to change. I don't know if you have to. Yeah. I guess you can make the image fit a bit better, maybe, or.
There's going to be, even with any template that I create, there's going to be a little tweaking that you need to do to make it work with the image. Because the most important thing about Pinterest and creating those graphics is making your message like work effectively with the image, you know? So you can do different things like add an overlay over the, whatever image that you choose. You can drop the opacity of the image to make the text more readable. But yeah, there's different design techniques that you can do. You can add like a block of color behind text to help it stand off from an image. You definitely want to make sure anything that you put on Pinterest or any graphic actually is readable. I've seen a lot of pins that it's like, I'm trying to read the message and screw that, I'm moving on, So if it's one way to scare off your audience is to have text that isn't readable.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So I know that you're kind of doing your own little Pinterest side project. So I'll share something that would be super helpful for you and for your viewers or your audience likely. I have a system for creating like 50 pins in an hour.
Oh, wicked. And, tell me.
So basically have 5 templates.
Yeah.
The hour doesn't account for your time creating the templates. Let's just say that.
Cool.
Have five templates. If my math is right, we'll see here. Take your top 5 articles or 5 articles that you want to create pins for.
Okay.
Make 2 brand new headlines per pin. Switch up the words, hit on some different keywords that your audience might be searching for. So you have your 5 templates, your 5 articles, and then your 2 headlines per article. So you have 10 brand new headlines, right?
Right.
If you run through each headline through a template, you end up with 50 pins. So that could set you up for like a month.
That's so clever.
Maybe a month and a half of pinning new content to Pinterest.
What I've been trying recently, and I don't know whether this is bad form or what, but I basically design a pin, and then if it starts doing well, if it starts getting like a little bit of traction, all I do is I go back to the pin on Canva, duplicate the pin like 5-10 times, however many, and then just change the color or like move the text up. Like, so if the text is at the bottom, I move it to the top. And that's super quick as well. But obviously that only works with pins that already exist and that are already like sort of doing well. But I don't know if that's a good idea or a bad idea or.
I think if they're different enough, like if you're moving the text, and did you say you were changing some of the text on it?
Yeah, well, sometimes.
Okay.
Because I don't know what the best thing is, like, because obviously there's a reason that pin is starting to do well. So I don't want to change too much, but equally I'm changing the color or like moving the text, or I might make, I didn't know what it was called until just now, but I would make the hierarchy different. So I'd make the focus maybe on a different place or something like that. So I would hardly change it at all. So it would look very, very similar, but I'm just changing the color. I don't know if that's spam or what, but
I wouldn't say it's spam, and I don't really know like Pinterest level of like what is considered a new pin, like I do know like a different image. And so if you're changing the color, that's great. And you're moving things around. I think if you were to compare them side by side, like I would say if there's enough difference to say like, okay, those 2 things are different, I would say that that's okay. And I love that. That's a really great idea to create pins quickly too.
Yeah, because that is, like you say, that is the whole focus of that website. So I've been trying to find ways to make pins a bit quicker, because otherwise it takes me so long. And then they look terrible as well. So it's I've learned so much just in this last hour. It's been amazing. Anyway, going back to you a bit more, what would you say has been like one of the best things since quitting your full-time job? Like, what would you say is, I don't want to know like what's your average day look like, because I can imagine, and I want to know more like what is some of the best things that has happened since. It's not long obviously for you, but it could just be something little.
Well, so my number one thing, I have not woken up to an alarm in like months. So that excludes my 9-month-old crying in the middle of the night, which is another thing. So I have this newborn. Not anymore. He's 9 months old now. But it's like babies wake up a lot in the middle of the night and they want their mamas. And now it's like I am so much less stressed out about like, oh, I just want this baby to sleep. I'm like, I could take a nap tomorrow if I wanted to. You know,
brilliant.
like I just, and doing things for myself when I want to, how I want to has been amazing. Not reporting to, I mean, I do have my clients, but I love my clients. They're, you know, they cause me no trouble whatsoever. I love to create for them. But, you know, like not having that boss to report to, like I am my own boss. I'm able to like go to my daughter's Christmas parties without having to take time off. Like if I want to stay up at my up north cottage for a longer weekend, like I can. I just have to rearrange my schedule in a way that I don't have to do that work. You know, the deadlines are looser. I get to pick who I work with.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm not stuck working for an employer that maybe doesn't appreciate everything I do. If I don't like a client, I could get rid of them. I can throw in a load of laundry whenever I want to. I guess it's just given me the opportunity to kind of focus more like on my family and my children and all of those things that I think we're here on this earth for. So it has really been, it's been nothing short of amazing.
Yeah, that is awesome. Is your husband like in a normal 9 to 5?
He is, yeah. He works for a university here, and
cool.
he's into marketing as well. So we get to bounce ideas off of each other and whatnot.
Yeah,
but
awesome.
yeah, he works a full-time job, and I work here.
Nice. And I've asked this question to everyone, but I'm actually gonna, for the first time ever, I'm actually going to ask you it in a slightly different way. So you could actually have a bit of time here to think about this, because I think this is a really good one. But let's go back to, I need to try and pick a day. So I'm going to do the whole 2017 time. So you're working in your office, you're in the same chair, your uncomfortable chair that you've been in for 9 years.
Absolutely.
You realized something has happened that day and it's just wound you up, you know, like you're just like it's pulling, like you're stressed from being at home. You got your side business on the go. What would be one thing that you would tell yourself if you could go back to that exact moment on that day?
That I had everything I needed to make it happen, and that it might take some time. It's not going to be easy. But everything that I have in between my 2 ears here can be put to use, and don't have to know everything. Everything is figure outable. It's going to take a lot of determination and focus, and probably won't always do everything right, and that's okay. It's all a learning experience. But I believe that if you put your heart and soul into something that you want so badly, you are the main driver of that bus, and you can get there. And it's not going to be easy. You're going to hit some bumps along the way, but I think that if you can dream it, you can do it.
Amazing. That is so good. Imagine if you could actually go back in time and tell yourself that. That'd be so useful, wouldn't it? I'm always like, right? I wish I could do that. I wish I could take these people's advice and go and tell myself this like 2 years ago or whatever. But I think that is awesome. But obviously, I know you're a super busy lady. Even though you say that you can just do whatever you want when you want, you actually do a lot of stuff. So I don't want to keep you for too long, and I really appreciate you coming on today.
Yeah, it was fun. Thank you for having me. It was fun to chat.
So there you go. So much value from a half-hour chat or however long it was. I know it's sometimes harder to actually hear this than see it visually, because it is, some of the things is like quite visual, but I really still hope it really helps. Just her giving like some of the stories and things about what's actually happened, I think could really help. I'm just going to sum up the 5 key takeaways. But before I do, note that I didn't ask her how to get in contact with her. Go to the show notes and you can find all the links for the best way to get in contact with her. But basically it is applecartlane.com. That's Apple, spelt like apple, cart, spelt like cart, all one word, lane, spelt like lane. I don't think I need to explain that. .com. Very easy to find. So here are my 5 key takeaways. Number 1 is once you learn those fundamental key things for graphic design, anyone can kind of do it. And I'm only just going to list 3 things here. Hierarchy, alignment, and contrast. Remember, hierarchy is like the first thing that stands out. So it could be within the title. It could be like how to make money quickly. Make money would be your key thing that you want people to see first. You want that to be big and bold. You also might want it to be a contrast. So you might want it to be a different color. And then alignment, you want it can be aligned to the left, it can be aligned to the right, it can be aligned to the middle, but whatever it is, it needs to be aligned together. Now, if you had a call to action, that can be aligned in a different place, if it's a separate thing. But when the writing's together, make sure it is aligned in the same way. Number 2 is her genius way to come up with 50 pins in an hour. You have 5 templates, you have 5 key posts, and you have 2 headlines for those key posts. You put them together, that means you've kind of got 2 titles for each, or 10 titles overall, 10 headlines, and that means you just put them into your 5 templates. That's 50 pins that all look very different and unique and amazing. Number 3 is keep it simple, stupid. This is something that I need to keep telling myself, because I always end up doing this when I'm designing pins. I just end up spending way too long, and I make it worse, if anything. You want to make sure you've got it in line, and the contrast and the hierarchy and those sort of things. But you don't want to spend ages adding junk, which I am a massive culprit of doing in the past. You don't need to make it graded or shaded or add in a little symbol that means nothing. Just put in things that add to the content. And number 4 are some amazing tools that she talks about. Colorzilla, where you can pick any color from the screen. It's just a Chrome extension for free. Photopea, which sounds really cool. Was that the one? Yeah, that's the one with the transparent. You can just use it and make the transparent on the background. I think that's so useful. Creative Market, where you can get 6 free things. Was it a week or a month? Icons, patterns. That sounds really cool. I need to check that out. And Ivory Mix, something that I always find is stock photos. When you look on Pinterest and you see these people, you're like, how are they getting all these amazing photos? And I've paid for some stock photos before. I've never done the monthly thing, but I'm just how would they always seem to get such nice things? And I'm guessing this is maybe a way that you could potentially do it. I'm excited to check that out anyway. And number 5 was her one thing that she would say if she could go back to 2017. You have everything that you need in your brain already. Everyone has everything that they need to do whatever they want in their brain already. I could go on a deep philosophical talk right now, but I'm not going to. But there's nothing different between any of us. It sounds stupid, and you might think, yes, there is. And obviously we're all different, we're all unique, blah, blah, blah. But we all have the same information. We all have access to the same things. If you're from a first world country, there's nothing different about anyone. It's just applying it. It's just trusting yourself. It doesn't mean you have to quit your job tomorrow or whatever it is, but you have got skills in you right now that can make you live a life that you want to live. And if you just knew that, if you go forward 5 years and you've tried this side hustle or whatever it is that you've done, and you make your life look exactly how you want it to look, just imagine if you could tell yourself right now, you know everything that you need to know. You just need to trust yourself. How cool would that be? Anyway, that's the 5 things that I think I've taken away. I hope you really enjoyed that chat. I don't want to ramble for too much longer. So take care, guys. Thanks for listening in to this episode of Make Time Online. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss any future episodes. And please take a moment to write a review for our podcast in the App Store. Keep changing for the better, guys. Take care.